movies in it. They go at that 3.
They do.
Even folks, thanks for coming in. It's just a wee unexpected live because we'd nothing scheduled for this week. So I thought I'd go. We'd no live scheduled this week. So I thought I'll get a hold of Jennifer and drag her on the panel and we'll just have a wee chit chat. Successfully dragged. It was a long rope, mind you, reaching from here to Oregon. You know what I mean? But
I know. No, my lives will no longer be in California. They're now going to be in Oregon. Isn't that awesome? Yay!
So what difference is that going to make to you? Like say weather-wise and stuff.
It's colder. It definitely will. There'll be more rain. Yay! More clouds. It's high desert, so it shouldn't get too high above 100 during the summer, so I'm looking forward to this.
So you're happy if you get more rain?
I will be very happy to get more rain.
Move to Scotland, you'll be ecstatic 12 months a year.
Oh, I love the rain. I can't help it. I am more happy when it's raining versus the sun. I do not sun boo hiss.
You want to swap because you'll be over the moon. You know, you'll be smiling January to December. Well, I tell you like this year.
And it does snow here on occasion.
Well, I watched your video that you posted, and it doesn't look like a lot of rain.
Not that day. No, that day was just kind of cloudy and sunny. At least the last video I posted was the very last one I took in Marysville. So I'm working on a new one for Oregon. There's a few ghost towns that are nearby and some cemeteries and some old haunted tales I'm looking into right now. But a lot of them will not be accessible during the winter. So a lot of research will have to happen.
You've got about 4 weeks left. You've got about 4 weeks to do it then before winter starts.
I can probably get to one of them before winter starts, but the other 2 I probably won't be able to get to until spring.
Our winter usually starts about August, you know. And then we might get a wee heat wave and then we're back to the rain and everything again. But anyway, that's not here to talk.
No, that just catches them up with what I'm doing and why I haven't been around lately. And it's because I was moving and now I'm in my forever home, so yay.
Because you were out of action for about a month, something maybe more, something like that.
It took a month, literally, to get up here. But in between everything, it's my friend. Hi, Mountain. No, I know her through another community that I'm with, so it's really cool. She does YouTube stuff too, so it's really cool.
We need to look it up. Like Mountain Gypsy. I mean, I like Gail's name as well. I need to see that because I know Gail's watching, so I better see. I like Gail's name as well, you know. Hi, everybody. So tonight, so Jennifer was out of action for about a month, 4 or 5 weeks. Remember that?
Literally.
But she's all moved, settled into an enormous house.
It's okay. It is big. It's bigger than I normally would do, but yes.
Our house could fit in your living room.
Yeah, but here's the cool part. Oof, cat, bye. This house is not haunted. I don't have to worry about being woken up in the middle of the night or things bugging me. I am so happy.
It's not haunted yet.
No, you keep saying that. It's not haunted yet because it's not going to be haunted. I put too many amulets and too many things around the house. No, they can keep their butts in the cold.
I'll never be haunted. All right, but yourself and you're all safe and sound, so that's the main thing. It's happy days. I mean, but tonight we're going to have a wee chit chat about fakes in life. You know, we got a lot of fakes in life. You know, career-wise, you know, personal people.
And people who just don't debunk.
Exactly. Robbie says he can send some guests over to pay you a visit. I'm sure she's fine, buddy, but thanks for the offer. But in the paranormal, there's a lot of fakes. You know, whether it's groups, teams, programs, whatever, and it gives genuine paranormal people, you know, hey, Cathy Doll, it gives genuine people, teams, whatever, a bad name, and it shares a.
So let's talk about Hollywood and its unfortunate cast on the paranormal society in itself. It's not that Hollywood's bad. I mean, yeah, it's getting the names out there saying, hey, it's not wrong to like the paranormal. It's not wrong to want to investigate the paranormal. However, too much of Hollywood or Hollywoodized is not allowing the real deals to get out there and do, because people they're watching these shows. I'm not saying all these shows are bad. I'm just saying that they watch these shows, so they're not they see only part of what the shows are doing. They're not seeing the hours and hours and hours that are going into these investigations or what's taking place. They're only seeing a tidbit, so they think, oh, they do it all in an hour. I'm like, no, it takes hours and days to conclude anything. I mean, that's the biggest misconception that Hollywood has decided to put out there, is that, hey, we can do things in an hour. We can do things only in 2 hours, or we'll do one in only one day. And you know, and I know, if you're doing a big place, like you guys have been doing this huge house, it's going to take more than one day to finish everything. It's impossible. It's not impossible, but you don't have your right conclusions if you just go one day. So
No, exactly. I mean, we've been at the estate for maybe 3 weeks now, something like 3 or 4 weeks, and we've done 4 investigations. I mean, we've been really, really lucky with the stuff that we've caught. Especially,
but you've been going back. You go back. You guys continue to ask questions. You dig, which I think some people just okay. So if we're gonna go the Hollywood route and the whole the hype, that's what it is. It's a huge hype, but you and I, and the whole the team there in Scotland and over here, we do it for the biggest fake show here was Most Haunted.
and the TV show here 4 weeks ago we started. Cheers, Robbie.
So it's just unfortunate that well, yeah, a lot of shows have. Or they make fun of paranormal investigators. So you have shows like Paranormal Activity, or, oh gosh, I can't think of them all right now, but there's too many out there that either make fun of the paranormal world and what actually investigators do. And then you have those that are investigators, but they're not given a lot of time to give that result that's required or needed.
I mean, exactly what says. We've been there 4 weeks, which probably is just about right now, and we've spent a lot of time there. We're recording a lot, and we're going to put it together in several episodes. But I mean, for instance, we were there last Saturday, maybe Saturday before, for 7 hours. We spent there one Saturday night, and once we looked through the footage and we put it up, it'll probably only be about half an hour of footage. Mm-hmm. We were there for 7 hours, and this is a bit that people don't see.
And that's all you got, right? Out of the time that you were there, you only had that much. Again, that's another thing. You guys were also, I mean, you guys did your research of the area, right?
Well, the girls have been doing research to say I get my comments are jumping up and doing last visit. It was an amazing result we got the last time. The girls have been doing a lot of research, and every time they research something else pops up. So it's like it's the old saying, it's like an onion. There's layer upon layer upon layer.
Right, exactly. And that's what a lot of Hollywood doesn't show you, is that there is a lot of research, and they're only showing you like a small, tiny, this little tiny bit about, here's the book that we got. Oh, we opened it up and that's all we're going to show you. But the book's this big.
Exactly. I mean, that's the state we're doing. We were at another location the other night. I mean, we've just found out that it has a tie to the place that we're just now. you know, we are doing other investigations. We don't want to just stick to the same one, even though this is a big project we're doing. So we are going out randomly, just doing different. And the place we went to the other night is the place we got that capture in the window. But it's got ties to our main project.
Yeah, which is why if anybody from your area that does films it like for a show, they're not going to go into detail like you guys have been doing. You know that for a fact. Ghost Adventures is getting worse. Okay, I don't want to badmouth Ghost Adventures, but okay, I'll say this. At the beginning, I really think they were really go-to people. Now, I just think it's entertainment, but that's just personal opinion. You know, that there's my little, hey, don't shoot the messenger. I don't think that they're completely wrong in what they do, but I'm not exactly saying that they're completely right in what they do. It's a very mixed media for me.
You see the Hollywood side. That's an interesting question because I've heard of the Hollywood side.
According to some of my friends, they say it is. I have friends that live near there who are part of another ghost team. They do. I don't know if did they do that one? Yeah, they did do that one. They actually investigated the Hollywood sign. They got some really good EVPs, but but they concluded they weren't sure if it was actually from the woman who jumped from the sign. Because there's so many people that have hiked up there, and so many different things have happened over the years. They're not sure if they were getting an intelligent response or if they were getting a residual response from everything that's been going on.
I mean, just get back to what we were saying about the amount of time, Hollywood and what have you. I mean, I watch a lot of ghost shows, and I've spoken to, like Danny Moss and the Haunted Hunts team. No, we've spoken about it on panel, but we've also spoke behind, privately, basically, about the amount of time and effort that goes into putting these things. Isn't
it funny that a lot of these, all of a sudden, a place becomes haunted, all of a sudden, because either someone died or did something very drastic, then all of a sudden, now it's haunted. It must be haunted because they died, or they died a tragic death, so now it has to be haunted. But we know for a fact that this is not always the case. And that I have seen that happen a lot. I've been to a lot of haunted locations where there have been a lot of tragedies. There's been a lot of deaths, but it wasn't like buzzing with the paranormal. It's just they were, I guess you could say, it's because it was a historic place and they make money selling tickets to these historic places, and it's the hype, and people start believing what they want to believe, and then every little last sound, every little last thing that's happening, it must be paranormal when it's not.
Bang on. I mean, again, I'll talk about Greyfriars because it's the place that jumps immediately in mind. The hype, the reputation that Greyfriars has got. Everybody goes in there expecting, and I've said it many times, I will keep saying it, everybody goes into Greyfriars expecting, headstones maybe flying about and, everywhere.
Wait. Everything. Headstones to fly about? I've never heard that one before.
Maybe that's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. You get into Greyfriars and expect all this paranormal activity. We've been there dozens upon dozens of times and we've had nothing. With a brief presence of a man one night, and it lasted 10 seconds if you're lucky. And that is it.
You're exactly right.
I've been there over 100 times because that is one of my favourite locations. And we've been at all different times during the day, evening. We've been at 3 in the morning. All different times we've been there. We've spent, hours there, and we've had nothing at all. I'm not saying, Robbie's saying there that he got some results.
Yeah, well, Robbie, he's saying that he got results from Greyfriars, but maybe that was because of you. I mean, that's another theory that a lot of things are, maybe there is paranormal in many places, but maybe it's not meant for me or you, or I mean, maybe for him. Maybe it was just meant for that time to be captured. And that's another thing. I mean, is everything paranormal? No. Is everything can be paranormal? Yes. So the timing, I mean, I've been places where people have caught stuff and I went there and there was nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This place has been now, we've had a lot of activity, as you've seen, Jennifer, with, you know, the DVPs and the meters going off and everything else is happening. But, you know, we went there once, maybe twice, and we've had nothing.
Exactly, and then it feels like it's completely dead. There's there's a ship. I've talked about it before. The USS Hornet down in California, Alameda, and yeah, it is haunted. It has stuff, but there are times where I'll walk the entire ship. I'll be on the second deck, whatever, and feel nothing. It's like all of a sudden the ghosts have either, I'm not saying they disappeared, they're just being quiet. And people people who are touring it at that time, they come because, oh, we've heard that it's haunted. And then they come on there and they get disappointed because nothing's happening. And I'm like, well, you can't exactly ask the ghost to perform because they're not going to do it.
Exactly. You can't say, you know, right, we're here to do something. And that's I mean, we're talking tonight, that's how one thing that really gets in my nerves, if a team goes to a certain location and, you know, they get nothing, then they should say they get nothing. You know, we did it. Right. We went and we did activity at all. And I put up on the Facebook, you know, we done the location and we had nothing.
Yeah, and then what does that do? That those people that end up getting nothing, they expect and expect and expect, and then they get nothing, and then they turn around and start bad mouthing other people, those people that have claimed anything, saying, well, they're faking it. And I'm like, well, no, we're not faking it. It just didn't happen for you. Mm-hmm. So that's the other turn of the toast. It's just it's unfortunate that we have those who fake and then all of a sudden people believe it, and then there's people that are doing it for real and being told that they're fake.
Aye, we've had that before. These people's entertainment.
Mountain says they aren't there for people's entertainment. Agreed. Unfortunately, too many of them who come to places like historical places, they think that it is. The Washoe Club in Virginia City, the Miners Cabin in Gold Hill. I could keep going on. There's the Queen Mary. There's the USS Hornet. All these are known to be haunted, but people go there expecting a lot, and they think, oh, it's haunted, so I'm going to get spooked or scared or something. And I'm like, that doesn't work that way. They're not trained monkeys.
It doesn't happen. I mean, Robbie makes a good point that can be logically explained. And, you know, this is the trouble. A lot of people don't go and look for the explanation. I was at a location with another guy a few weeks ago, and we were doing a live for the front of the building. And we could hear, I've said this on a live before, we can only be described as a faint banging sound coming from the rear of the building. So, you know, I went and had a look, and it turned out it was like 3 or 4 drips of water that were hitting this bit of metal at the same time. And it was a slight echo. And so, you know, that was debunked right away. But a lot of people might have said, well, we can hear banging.
Exactly. And then those people are set in their brains that that has to be it, even though the intelligent paranormal people are going, no, it's not.
Right. You need to debunk that. That's why this place we're doing everything we're getting, we're sending it to, you know, our first recording we sent it to 11 different people.
I mean, you've been there. I've been there to places where you go, okay, you go through, you do your walkthrough. You're doing your walkthrough, no matter if it's historical or residential or whatever. And you go through and you're making note. Okay, there's that noise. There's this noise. This is what's going on. And if you're smart, you'll go back at night and do a walkthrough to find out what the noises change. Unfortunately, there are too many people that pop-up paranormal teams that pop up thinking, oh, we can do what these people are doing. And then they don't go through the steps of the walkthrough, the debunking, the research. They don't go through those steps, and then they expect to get results.
Mm-hmm. You need to debunk as much as possible, because, you know, if you put something up on your page or your channel, whatever, and say, right, this is you know, a ghost banging on a door, for example. and it turns out it's no, you think, you're just leaving yourself wide open for criticism.
Right. And well, right. I mean, you have that, and then this one kills me. So you go to I don't know if they have paranormal conventions in Scotland or England, but they have a lot of paranormal conventions here in the United States. And unfortunately, we have the jokesters of people that come and think they're gonna, cause ruckus. They're gonna purposely cause noises and make other people think that it's paranormal. They'll purposely drag their foot or knock when everyone's dark and the lights have gone out. And unfortunately, sometimes those are hard to catch. But so when those happen at certain paranormal conventions and people are playing back their stuff, they think, oh, I caught something. In fact, they probably didn't. And they actually caught someone knocking on the wall because they're being jackasses. That's what's happening.
Yeah. Couple of comments to stick up, but please forgive me, Q line, when you, Lou, myself, when we got loads that couldn't be explained. Right, with that.
I still want to go there.
And there was quite a wee bit that we couldn't explain. No saying it's paranormal, we just could not explain what it was or what was called.
Some things you can explain because there's. What is she saying? Yeah. Gail says, the experience I've had at Caldwell is amazing. I can't wait to go back. Yes, there's been a few places I don't feel safe, but I always want to go back. And even though the first time has scared me, I need to find out what's making me feel uneasy. That is an awesome response, Gail. Good. I'm glad you want to do that because you want answers. You probably have more questions and you want them answered. So good for you.
Oh, she's doing. Gail's doing really well. She's not been with us that long, but she is doing. I think the first big night we had kind of freaked Gail and another couple of folk out. I mean, given everybody's went back again during the day and at night time. They've all went back.
That's because you're kidnappers.
That's because Sarah's behind here.
Yeah.
I could hear her clicking. I thought it was one of the cats, but it's not. It's Sarah. Sarah says I kidnapped them. They go their own free will.
Yes, I agree, Mountain. You have to do the mundane thinking before you go to the supernatural. That is very true because also it's not just ghosts and spirits. People are also trying to find fairies and Bigfoot and all this other stuff, thinking it's that they're going to find it. It's real, and they don't do their research. And that's so sad.
That's the thing that we do. I'm not bragging, I'm not boasting, but that's the thing that we're quite big on. We believe do your research, and if you're going to state something, then get it right. There was a case a few weeks ago. I think I spoke to you about it, Jennifer. As an old kid's tale that originated in Glasgow back in the late 50s. But this thing became, international news kind of thing. And there was somebody investigated the graveyard, says they'd found the grave of this creature. Turned out they're in the graveyard.
Yeah.
The sound of this thing had been in a graveyard on the other side of the city.
Well,
but
and I mean,
it's in this you're in the wrong graveyard. The one graveyard you want's about 4 miles away. 5 miles from where you are, and do your research.
One of my cats is behind the door trying to jump the other cat as she's trying to come through the door, and I lost my concentration there. I do apologize.
That's all right, Doc. That's all right. It's just a laid back chit chat tonight. But as I say,
it's low-key chasing banshees, so it's hilarious.
This person in the wrong graveyard, you know what I mean? And that ended it for me there and then. And
my favorite misconception is about the paranormal. Oh, I love this one. All graveyards are haunted. That's my favorite misconception. Not all graveyards are haunted.
I think the graveyard thing, I mean, we do graveyards all the time. You know, I put our hands up, we do go to graveyards. My opinion is that the graveyard thing maybe just stems from Hollywood kind of thing.
It does in ways. There's a lot of stories.
No.
There are a few haunted stories out there that talk about, ladies in white, or the one I just did. The video talked about how they see the ladies from the past in the graveyard. Mind you, these are tales that people have said. I have seen things, but mind you, that doesn't mean every graveyard's haunted.
I need to put this one up.
Bigfoot. Wait, what?
We watched that. I'm not going to name the person, but this person when I'll wait till you finish laughing.
I'm sorry, that. Okay.
Are you done?
Good.
We watched this video and a person who says that there have been reports of Bigfoot in Edinburgh, and they went hunting, and it wasn't even a forest they were in. It was more like a public park, and they were walking about the forest, banging sticks together and stuff like that in Edinburgh. And we were just, I mean, I'm from Glasgow, and I love Edinburgh. I think it's a fantastic city, the history, everything. But when I seen this, I thought, are you seriously kidding me on? Bigfoot in a public park in Edinburgh? Come on. And he said, the person was saying,
it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
There's lots of berries here for it to eat, and people leave the remains of their picnics here, and they can eat that and stuff. And
what if it's not Bigfoot? What if it's something else?
What if it's just a tall guy that's no shaved for a year?
Exactly.
Exactly. But I mean, it's stuff like this, and what amazes me, not just people, but a lot of people believe it.
They do. Well, it doesn't help that people put mock pictures of Bigfoot riding Nessie.
Well, I've never seen that one.
Look it up on there are Photoshop pictures of Bigfoot riding Nessie. I am not joking. Oh my God.
Have you seen this one that Robbie's talking about?
The best laugh was out of focus image. Oh, that turned out to be fire extinguishers. I've actually not fire extinguishers, but yes, other pictures, yes, as well. That turned out to be other objects, yes.
This certain group that, they're quite famous in Britain for their own reasons, but they claim to have found they encountered the twins from The Shining, and they put up this photograph with two bloody images. That's all, say, at the end of a corridor.
Okay, you're making my head hurt.
Somebody got hold of the photograph, and they researched into it, and it was two fire extinguishers that they'd photographed and claimed.
Oh my gosh, that's also something that's been going around a lot too. People faking paranormal photographs.
Right. Kathy's saying it was me on my last, but Kathy was in Edinburgh a few months ago. So it was Kathy who was running about the woods kidding on she was Bigfoot. So now we know. Mystery solved. This individual was walking about breaking sticks and making these Bigfoot noises. That kind of that's a bit pretty poor effort, but you get the idea.
Oh my God.
You get the kind of idea. And I mean, Glasgow, and we found some park in the middle of the night hitting together and making Bigfoot noises. They'd end up in the Clyde. They'd end up in the river.
Well, I'm sure they end up in the clink. They're going to end up somewhere more than just the clink.
It's just there's no words. No. But
it's funny because people there are people out there that go and purposely fake stuff and shit and whatever else. It's not cool.
Another group went back to the same photograph, but no blur. two fiery singers in the corner. Here it seems my wearing.
Somebody went back.
I got a real good photo of a face caught on camera. Scott and Sarah seen it, and I will try and find it again and put it in Facebook chat. We have Gail.
Was that the one that I said looked like a golden helm?
Recently, we've been getting a lot of good photographs, and I'm not bragging, I'm not boasting. We're
No,
quite
it was okay.
getting.
One, your picture is unexplained. There's no rhyme or reason for that to be there. So who knows what it is, but there's nothing that could one. I could find no reason what could cause that glow. Two, it's going to look different to everybody. Yes, it looks like a face of some sort, but to me, for me, it looked like somebody had a helmet on, standing there looking through the window. But that was just me. But once again, okay, your brain is going to see what it wants to see. That's number one. Number two, you are like us. We're going to start going, okay, what could have caused that to happen? Is there a light source? Was there anyone up there? Which we all know that's a big fat no.
Nobody.
Exactly. So you start debunking these when you see a picture. Unfortunately, when you see pictures online, there's a lot of pictures out there that people purposely fake and pass off as real.
Exactly. And we said two of the team went back the following night and took more photographs, the exact same place, exact same angle.
Right. Now, I got into when I go and do an investigation and I'm taking a picture like that, I usually have one or two photos before and after that, whatever, so the capture. So I have something that shows it before, something that shows after, but they're in succession. So you know that so that actually helps prove it more, because now you have it time stamped. Okay, it happened at this, but the next 2 seconds later it shows up, 2 seconds later it disappears. For me, that's better evidence, honestly.
That's the weird thing. I took about 6 or 7 photographs.
Right, exactly.
One of them turned out to be just a white screen, and 2 or 3 of them turned out to be pitch black, nothing, a black screen.
Exactly.
I don't know, what happened to Sarah. She looked to the phone, she looked to the camera on the phone, and said, "Did you press that? Did you press this?" I says, "No, I turned the camera and I took the photographs, simple as that, and this is what came out." The same thing has happened at Caldwell. I've took photographs and I've had the same white screen, black screen. It probably is just the phone, because it's, I've had the same kind of photographs coming through.
True.
I can't explain that one. Gail stuck that photo in the chat.
Yeah, there was. Well, yeah. I've had people send me photographs of things like, "This is paranormal," and I go, "No, you used an app to superimpose this on your photo." I have actually called out a lot of frauds. Because they're like, "Oh, they're trying to pass it off with paranormal." I'm like, no, that's an app. And I go to the app, because anyone can go to the app, anyone can Google them and look and go, "Hey, look, guess what? I found your little soldier guy. It's right here." Same. And people do. They put that off as real. And it's like, no, it's not real. It's awful.
It's really annoying. It's the same as, when groups are, these programs go out and they get results every single time. Okay, at this estate, we've done maybe
how
investigation.
That's I want to know how on earth they get results every time. I'm not saying it's impossible, but really, every time?
We seem to get the same results for one particular part of this estate. We've done other parts in 2 different parts we always get results from. But there's other parts we've had nothing. But
what I'm saying is, when any team goes in and says that no matter where they go in the place, they're always getting results. I'm not saying that no one always gets results. It's just it's impossible it's not impossible. It's improbable that a person is going to constantly get always the results. I mean, you're going to get. You'll have, always is such a false word. It's probably more of a that most of the time versus always. Because if it always, that means every single time you're going in, you're going to get something no matter what from the start to finish. But
Mhm.
if you say most of the time, that means you're more credible. But when you use the word always, unfortunately, I took communication classes in college. Always is considered a false word because it is very indefinite and very misleading.
Very misleading. As I say, there's a group over here. I'm not going to name them, but every time they go out, and they're not very well liked, but every time they go out, they get something, numerous results. I watched one of their lives, and they went to an old abbey, an old church, and there were literally seconds in the place, and I seen a shadow there, saw an apparition, black shadow, looked like a monk walking over from the corner. Oh, it's gone now. And right away it's a load of BS. Because, they're only in the place with 10 seconds. Their shoes aren't even wet. Right, there's a shadow over there.
A lot of them, a lot of teams similar to that, they want their 15 seconds of fame. They want to, even if instead of debunking it, they're going to go, oh, that's paranormal, and they're going to tag it as paranormal, and that's just what they do.
To me,
go ahead.
The time that you're more likely to get captured is when you're not expecting it.
Correct. I mean, you've heard me tell a tale about the USS Hornet and about people thinking there's a ghost dog on board, when in fact it wasn't. I've told this story. I've had this on lives before. I've said this before about the noise that the devices that rub up against the ship squeak at night when the tides are coming in and stuff like that. So when it squeaks and down in the hall, it sounds like a sharp dog bark, but it's not a ghost dog. It's actually just those devices rubbing against the ship. But the story I told before, and I'm going to say again, a group of people came. I don't remember if it was 30 minutes to an hour. I don't remember anymore. I just know it was so stupid. But they ran around looking for the darn dog the whole time, when we're trying to tell them, no, we'll show you the things. We'll show you what's making this noise. Oh, no, it's not that. It's got to be the dog. It's got to be the dog. I'm like, whatever. You've convinced yourself to the point where you think it's the dog. I'm like, it's not the dog.
So some people you just can't convince.
I mean, I know that you guys have probably had that before. I mean, I've witnessed it too many times, especially on the Hornet or other places where it's like, oh, but this has happened. I'm like, really? And I'm thinking that person has shoes that squeaked across the metal, and it sounds like someone kissing on the audio, but it's actually the rubber that got dragged or twisted on the metal that gives that squeak sound, so they think someone kissed. I'm like, no one kissed. It's someone's shoe rubbing against the metal.
As annoying that a couple of comments. We go on 30 minutes an hour before we go live just to get feel for the place. If it feels wrong, we don't go live. I can understand that, but
yes, very good. Yes.
This place we're doing just now, I spoke to a lot of people. It's a kind of private state, but we were up there Monday. I think we were up Monday or Tuesday. We were up. Now, what day is this? This is what?
I don't know. It's whenever you guys you guys go up, and since our time differences, I'm getting all your messages at like my between 3 and 4 a.m. my time, and by the time I wake up at 5 a.m., I got 22 messages from all of you.
That's true. That's true. And I lose track of many times you're up, but I was up.
And then I'm playing catch up because you guys would like to know my opinion. And I'm like, whoa, I just woke up. Let me see what the hell you guys are talking about first.
Yeah, that's on that phone 24/7 like that. Ping, ping, ping.
Sure, I'm starting to get that way. The past 3 times I've woken up, and you guys have had investigations over there in Scotland. I've woken up and I'm like automatically going, okay, what are they talking about? Okay, let's see what I can do. I'm like already there.
That's the joy of being thousands of miles apart. But as long as if it feels wrong, we don't go live. The place we're doing now, I've spoke to quite a few people on the estate. I was talking to a guy the other morning there when we were up, and he works on the estate. He's some kind of gamekeeper or whatever. And he was saying, I don't go near the house at night. So I just don't go near it because it just doesn't feel right. But we've never had that feeling. The girls have. The night we done the 7 hour stunt, we split into two and we done, a walk around the estate, and 4 of the girls were inside the house, and we were walking back up and we heard car horns going. Then we realised it was your car horns. The girls were standing blasting the car horns. So obviously we ran up and they says they'd heard footsteps and people swearing inside the building. We searched the building. We talked to Bob twice. There was nothing there. But they got a kind of bad feeling. But they went back in, but we've never had a bad feeling. But I can understand what Robbie is saying.
There's a lot of girls in general, or women in general, have sometimes just have, I guess they're more in tune to these things. I don't know how to explain it. Being a practicing witch and everything, it's more of a with me, I go and do an investigation, and then because I practice what I practice, they think I know more. I'm like, wow, that's so Hollywood. That does not work that way.
It doesn't work that way. No, that is
right.
quite.
And they think, because you practice something, or if a person's whatever religion the person is, or whatever practice they do, they think, because you practice it, you must be more in tune. I'm like, no, not all witches are in tune. I just happen to be in tune with the freaking paranormal world. This is the way it is. Women just happen to be more in tune to it than men. Sorry.
You don't know how to make me feel good. Well, I mean, I should ask somebody else to come on, we're better than you. That's the other thing that gets me. And I've spoken to him quite a few times. We've had quite long talks about this and other people, but when somebody turns around and says they're an expert.
Oh, there's a lot of those too that cause the unfortunate clog into the paranormal world of the, I'm an expert, so all of a sudden you know what to do. Or I'm an expert on cleansings. I'm an expert on, I can get rid of that ghost. No, you can't. I'm sorry. There's no such thing as getting rid of anything permanently, because it has its own energies. Unless you actually know how to deal with those energies, you're not going to get rid of it permanently.
Yeah, and as Robbie says, no one is an expert. It's just that
exactly. I mean, when I go in and do cleansings for people after I do an investigation, sometimes they ask for a cleansing. They want ground rules put down for the ghosts. And I'm like, no problem. But I also tell them there's no guarantee. It's like, I'm good at what I'm doing, but there's no guarantee. I could do this and help you make your house feel good and feng shui the hell out of it. But if those ghosts don't give them rat's ass, they're not going to listen to me, and they're definitely not going to listen to you. But I always tell them, own your house. It doesn't take me to do it. If you don't want them here, you tell them not that you don't want them there.
You tell me, Lee, but
exactly. And most of the time they will. The only ones that are, which is another thing. Let's go back to Hollywood. All of a sudden, everything's a demon. Everything's bad. Everything is against you. That's not true. Just because you're getting scratched, just because you're getting pushed, does not necessarily mean it's a bad thing. Sometimes they just want your attention.
Mm-hmm. We went. Well, I think it was last year. We went we were in Edinburgh, and we went to Canongate Kirk, which is down the bottom of the Royal Mile. It's another version of Greyfriars. And I don't get freaked out anywhere. I'll go in anywhere. This particular night we went, and we went in the gate, and there was just a right heavy feeling of we weren't wanted there. Sarah went back to the car. I think Sarah's brother was with her. They went back to the car, sat in it. But, me being, whatever, I went for a walk around the graveyard and filmed it. But it was just, and nothing really affects me, but when I came out of there, I had this feeling of dread, if something bad was going to happen. But we drove away. We were going up to Greyfriars after it, the further we get away from Canongate, the feeling just disappeared. And I wouldn't say it was an evil, demonic or anything. Maybe just somebody basically saying, look, we can't be annoyed with you tonight, so you want to go elsewhere.
But yeah, and that's just it. That's also part of the whole why we debunk, why we go out and actually try to do the history. Does the haunting match the history? Are these noises put on by people who are just coming in there because they're being jerks? All of this is what a paranormal investigator should do. A paranormal investigator should thoroughly think mundane and debunk as much as possible, and whatever remains, no matter how small, might actually be the truth.
I mean, the word investigator says it all. If you're investigating, so it's like the police investigating a murder case, say, they need to look at every aspect. Obviously they need to look at what happened, but then they need to look into the background there. And so it's kind of the same thing, you look into what happened to you on the night, and then you start looking into the background. Well, is there a reason that happened? What's the history of the place? Do these names mean anything?
It's like we are paranormal, and us paranormal investigators, we don't just become investigators of the paranormal. Now we're being forensic analysis of the paranormal.
Putting people down to me, that's a big no-no.
That's true. And how often does that happen? It happens a lot.
We've been put down quite a few times.
Oh my God. California is full of the most pop-up paranormal teams I've ever seen in the past 5 years. And they will, if you haven't made a name for yourself yet, you can get dogged or belittled or whatever you want to call it quickly. And it's very discerning.
I'm the kind of attitude, if somebody wants to put me down, fire in. But don't put my team down. Don't put my group down.
It's not right.
They can drag me into the ground. I mean, I've been called so many names since we started this way last year. I don't care.
It's nowhere. I mean, why do people do this?
That's it. I mean, we don't claim to be anything special. I've said on many a live, I'm not a medium or a sensitive or anything. Sometimes I'll pick up on a spirit. It could be weeks apart, but it's nothing special. So if somebody wants to put me down, go ahead, but don't put the team in that down. But it happens all the time. I've heard so many.
Well, that is part of the whole paranormal world. And you know what they do? They do tend to put teams down who do a lot of debunking. I don't know why they choose to do that. It's like, wait a minute, they're trying to find out the truth for you, but you're going to badmouth them because they didn't find out that it was paranormal, that it was something completely normal.
It was a very system. Something. Gail's mum, she came with us a couple of weeks ago on an investigation, and I think it was the next day, 2 days later, she was telling us stuff, and also we looked into it, and the information she gave us was uncanny, shall we say, but she told the spirit to leave, and so far everything's went back to normal. But no,
I always tell people that. I was like, it's your home, it's your place, it's your living spot. Claim it. Don't let them run your life. Unless I have been to too many investigations where people go, "Oh, I didn't want it here," and I'm like, "Okay, it calms down, whatever." What do they do 3 weeks later? They invite the damn thing back.
Not ideal. Not ideal. So what about gadgets? What about these people that they've got K2 meters, EMF meters, whatever, and they get.
You reminded me of something, Scott, about K2 meters and how there are people out there that try to get them to go off fakely. And do you know how they do that? I found out how they did it. The best way to make a K2 go off and make people believe that it's a ghost is by having someone nearby with a walkie-talkie or some kind of radio frequency or a phone and make it go off. That's how sensitive K2 meters are.
The phones as well. That's we always put our phones in flight
Right,
mode.
always put phones off, but it's true. I have caught people with a radio, and they are and then the K2's going off, making the people, and they're purposely beeping, pushing the button on purpose so that that radio transmission is now being sent by the K2 in the people in the next room.
I picks up. I mean, Mark Edgerton, he made a good point, and he says, K2 meters are famous for picking up, like taxi radios, stuff like that, mobile phones, etc. He says, but if you get intelligent responses for more than 30, 40 seconds, that's harder to debunk.
Correct. I completely 100% concur. Yes.
We've got
K2s are the easiest ones to manipulate. A millimeter is not as easy to manipulate. Just saying.
We were Tracy got a comment. Tracy, I'll pop that up and then he moves their things around our cables and see.
All right. So she says, well, a very young girl from the past history of mine moves things around on clairvoyance and see and I think you meant hear spirits. I have felt and known the good from the bad. Okay, so you're a clairvoyant. Nothing wrong with that. And yeah, there are a lot of clairvoyants do see and hear things, some more than others. But I will tell you that some people who are legitimately clairvoyant, I'm pretty sure, Tracy, you've had this where people don't believe you or think you're fake. But when you have someone there recording something right next to you, and then they go and you see something, they catch it. Guess what? That makes you more legit. And that is how I do things. So if I hear or see things and then they go, okay, this has happened, and then my other investigator actually catches it on an EVP or actually something on film the same time I'm saying it, that makes it a better claim. That's true. K2s were originally used for looking for wires behind the walls, and guess what? Electricians still use them.
See, that's why we always also the occasion we're focusing on the new, there's nothing, there's no wires, there's nothing. And we've had a lot of responses on the K2, intelligent responses. You ask it go yellow, goes to yellow, etc. We've got it all recorded anyway.
They do. I mean, there are other types of K2s out there. K2 is the most common one. There are many type of EMF readers that are out there. K2 is just been made famous. That's all. I use it for debunking purposes mostly, unless, like you said before, if you can actually get an intelligent response more than a certain amount of time, I usually don't pay attention to a K2.
Well, this is a question I've got for you, Jennifer. I could have put it in the chat, but it's
holy crap, that's long. Are you talking about what Laura's saying?
2 seconds, I'll pop that up.
That's a long. Hello, Jennifer. Why do you think many U.S. groups focus on demons? Oh, she put it in quotations. Is this just a popular trend we should be wary of? I tend to roll my eyes in disbelief when they cry demon. It's not just a regular thing in the UK investigations, or is there a genuine issue in the United States? Okay. You really want my personal opinion on this? Because some people might not be happy with what I'm about to say if I do.
Well,
I'll go for it.
Well, go for it then.
I'll go for it. All right. No, it should not be regular occurrence in the United States or anywhere in the world for that matter. I have been to many places where people have cried demon and found very, very mean, very evil-ish spirits, but they didn't seem demon as in the Catholic Church is deemed as what a demon is. Most demons or I should say, most spirits who are called demons have been demonized, so to speak, because the Catholic Church likes to call demon too much. I think a lot of demon cases or poltergeist cases are what's the word I'm looking for?
Good.
Better word than that.
Interpreted.
Yeah, it's just at the point where they think, because it's not okay. No, that's not a word either. It's not that they think it. It's because of what they're shown, what they're told. And if you have a certain belief system already strong in your head, and you trust what that person is saying, then all of a sudden it becomes, yes, now there's a demon. Yes, that demon exists. But I know people who work with demons and angels and stuff like that and claim them not to be as the paranormal investors claim, that they're actually just regular like you and I, misunderstood, misinterpreted, and unfortunately, just like a person who, I guess you say the game of telephone, where you say something through and then they whisper and whisper, and they get to the at the end it's a different answer altogether. So who's to say if a demon is really a demon? I think the whole United States I think it's turned into a semi fad. I'm not saying that there's no demons. I'm not saying that there are cases with that don't have demons. What I'm saying is, to say that everything in all these cases have demons is, okay. I don't have a good word for it. It's dumb. Or not dumb, stupid. Because if something was dumb, then you'd be quiet, and it's not quiet. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, you don't hear. You're right. You don't hear about it in the United Kingdom or other places.
No. You do hear the odd case. Laura says, it's not a regular thing in the UK. It's no, you do, every now and then, there was a demon there. But in America, it seems to be everything is a demon. Gail's saying,
Laura, it's definitely not a genuine issue. It's just what it's become.
It could be Gail's saying there's negative, it could be a grumpy spirit.
Okay, Gail. Not always demons. If a person is negative in human life, they will be the same in spirit life. I 100% agree. If they were disgruntled already, they're probably not going to be any worse or any better if they have chosen to stick around.
They're going to be, they're going to be a grumpy spirit, basically, night viewing out, you ask the same person.
I've dealt with grumpy spirits. I have. And I've told them to knock it off because they're not getting anywhere.
No, they're not going to get it. Kathy makes a good point. Use account for visual confirmation of what I'm picking up on, which is, we do. I was never a fan of the gadgets, but for some reason, I'm getting quite fond of the cat balls, the K2, and the EMF meter now, which is the question I've got for you, Jennifer. I was going to put in chat, but it's too long. We were out there and we done an investigation.
I mean, most of my stuff is myself. Myself is like the best instrument to use on an investigation, but because of the day and age that we live in, we need people want verification. They want validation. And unfortunately, gadgets, tools, cameras, video lend to that validation, which I'm not agreeing with. But as I said earlier, if I'm feeling something or seeing something, then that's what I'm saying. Now I have no EVP, I have nothing, no camera, I have no video at that time that I saw it. However, if someone is with me and catches it at the same time I'm saying it, makes it me more validated. I know that's backwards, and I know that sounds like that shouldn't be, but unfortunately that's the world we live in.
Indeed. Can I ask you my question now?
Yes, sorry, I was answering everybody else's.
I say I was going to put it in chat, but
No, go for it. Go for it.
a couple of nights ago, down that location, we got zero activity on the meters. Also we get the photographs after Sarah noticed after we'd done. But we went to another location nearby it, and we had the K2 meter and the EMF meter. And the K2 meter, now this place is hundreds of years old. It's an old castle, basically. There's no power lines. There's nothing wrong about it. The K2 meter, was constantly staying up at red. But then it was coming back down, but then that's another question. And it went up to red again. We never recorded this investigation. It was just one of these.
It's
We'll
something
go in,
that you witnessed.
we'll try in there. It's just something that, there was 5 years there. And we all seen it. It was constantly going up to red. We couldn't explain it.
Right.
Any ideas?
You know what's fun? Well, what my ideas are, if you can't explain it and you don't have anything to here's what's weird. Because of the day and age we live in, people are going to take you for your word because you were using a gadget. So that's number one. Number two, as far as what was happening and what caused it to go red, it sounds like a high-pitched energy, as in there was constant energy being thrown for whatever reason. For it, but in that time to hold it, for it to hold to that level, there has to be a constant burst of energy. The EMF is coming from somewhere. Who knows where it's coming from? But that's what's happening. It's a large burst of EMF being at that particular moment in that particular area. There may not be any EMF anywhere else being shifted or being thrown, but there's that particular EMF is being held for whatever reason. And I mean, yes, there are other people who have claimed this as well, where they know for a fact there's no radio towers, no one has cell phones, but all of a sudden the K2 won't shut off. It stays at red and then eventually dissipates and goes down. So that's pretty much what's happening. So whatever was going on with you guys, as long as there wasn't any interference, something with high energy came through and was holding it not in segments. Right. They were concentrating and keeping it right there. That is pretty much what I would say was going on.
There was another couple of things. Everybody else says that they've seen this kind of white mist kind of thing going by. What used to be a door and a window as well. I never seen it, but the other four saw it at different times. Through the neck on it, we get the words "I'm cold," and we got other words as well. But the meter went back down, and just on the off chance, I asked the question, "Were you a prisoner here?" And the meter shot up and then back down. I asked, "Were you executed here?" Were you back up? And I said, "Were you hanged here?" Back up again and back down. I said, "Were you hanged as a witch?" Back up, down.
More than likely.
And then it was going back up again and holding the red for, I don't know, it's constant.
Which means that spirit has a lot to say. If they're holding it, if they're actually willing to hold that energy on your device and drain the dang battery, because that's exactly what will happen. They'll start draining the battery. Apparently they want your attention at that point, and they're ready to say something, or they have something to say at that point.
With the EMF meter, and before I left here, I put fresh batteries in. We only used it for about 10 minutes up there. The battery was done, and I replaced the batteries in front of everybody that was there. And roughly 10 so minutes, I checked it, and the battery was, the batteries were gone again. So it was draining the batteries quite rapidly.
Right, which is another thing that happens even in other things about people debunking. They'll claim battery drain, right? A good investigator will check their batteries before they go anywhere, right? So if you know that you put fresh batteries in there, they're brand new, and all of a sudden it's drained, that tells me something. The only chance, I'm not good at statistics because I got a D in statistics in college, so let's not go there. But with with statistics anyway, just knowing for a fact that so many batteries that are being made, there's so much chance that one battery might not be the greatest, but all the batteries that you use drain? I
Six,
don't think so.
6 batteries drained. Now,
Exactly.
I'm not an expert on batteries, whatever, but to
Exactly.
me,
That's what I'm saying. If it was one battery, okay, you could debunk it to being maybe a bad battery. But if you have multiple batteries getting drained over, yeah, that says something else.
I read 6 gone,
There you
and
go. There you
that
go.
was we don't. As I say, we never recorded it. We were just walking back, and we thought, we'll try in there, and right, and it's hindsight. We should have recorded it, but it is what it is, so it was really, really puzzling for me. Why they were staying at Causeway Red. Hey, Hatchie, buddy. Uh, but again, as you say, there are ways to set them off, and people
Yeah.
will use it, as a means to even, these ghost shows and what have you. They'll use it as a means to fool their audience, fool the public.
Well, they do that for the right. They do that for the public because okay, they'll have something and they'll have the real investigation, and then you have the directors who go, well, I want a better result, so they'll make things. They'll have the reaction of what the crew is doing, but they'll refilm certain areas to show the equipment going off.
Mm-hmm. There's the better thing about to use open or closed questions. I feel a yes or no frauds can twist interpretation responses. Open questions may be lead.
What is more honest with what equipment? More honest. Actually, all equipment can be honest if you don't have anything that interferes. However, you also have to make sure that your equipment is working properly. If your equipment is by chance damaged or you drop it or whatever happens, then there's a chance that it's probably not going to work properly and you're probably not going to get the yes and no's questions that you need. I would not rely on a K2 all the time, but K2s are reliable, especially when there's no interference. People like using dowsing rods. And if people use them correctly, you can get good results. People like using millimeters or REM pods or spirit boxes. Once again, any of these devices you can use and get honest responses, provided that they're being used correctly and there's no interferences to interfere with the equipment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so such as does really successful. We've been trying the last couple of investigations. We got a compass. We've been trying it. It's no worked so far, but we're going to keep trying it. We could try it 100 times, and then it might work. The 101.
Okay? You guys have dowsing rods, correct?
No, we don't use them. No.
Okay. You may not, but I'm just saying you might want to get a pair. And what you could do is have everybody, when whoever comes to your investigations over there in Scotland, don't just have one person using them. Try other people using them. You'll get you might find different results.
I'll write that in the pad.
I do have a set of dowsing rods. There are times where I'll get nothing. So I'm like, here, I hand them off to somebody. Guess who starts getting results? Not me. They do.
See, that says when we.
Yes, they can.
Jesus, same with the human pendulum.
There is a way to actually not have them manipulated. There are ways to do it, just like the pendulum. The best way to not have the pendulum being manipulated by human hands is to actually hang it on something that doesn't move, that doesn't have a heartbeat. With dowsing rods, your best bet is to have somebody who can stand still ease the best. That's number one. Number two, with dowsing rods, they also do the whole parameter thing, the heartbeat possibility, but there's ways to debunk it first as you're going through, and then once you get through the debunking stages, you get the real results with dowsing rods.
Robbie uses dowsing rods. You see, we want to try some old school methods as well because, you know, as I say, we tried the compass. No luck so far, but we're going to keep at it. Candles.
Yeah, I'm not saying dowsing rods are the greatest things in the world. Me and my one of my friends, I gave them the dowsing rods, and she had the idea of holding only one and gave the other dowsing rod to somebody else. So therefore, there isn't that manipulation of the two. So one's holding one, one's holding another. They're back to back, and they're asking questions, and they were getting results. So therefore, I don't know how that could be manipulated since they can't really think on how each other's thinking. That's number one. So for me, that was kind of incredible that that had happened that way.
So thumb pads off the rod's heartbeat interferes.
So what's going on? Okay, I get what she's going with. Okay, what's happening is there is an actual medical term for it. I just can't think of it right now. That happens with pendulums, the planchette for the Ouija board, or the dowsing rods. What happened is your vibrations are triggering the movement, whether you mean to or not. And sometimes, depending on how your body is moving, whether it's the energies going through your body or your heartbeat, I'm using heartbeat because that is your main focus of energy. So I can't remember the damn word. Anyway, so what happens is you're not physically thinking about it, but you're kind of unconsciously you're still sending energy through those things, which can cause the pendulum or the dowsing rod or the Ouija board planchette to move unexpectedly, but not because there's a ghost, because of your actual energy from your body.
Robbie's saying that thumb and middle finger. What about the human pendulum? What do you think of that? We tried it, the human pendulum.
Human pendulum. What the hell's a human pendulum?
One person stands in they stand and you get a person in front and at the back of them, and somebody asks questions. They ask the spirit to move them, maybe forward for yes, back for no. We tried it at Halloween middle.
Honestly, I'm sure that is a thing out there. I've just never heard of it until now.
Never heard of it?
No, I've heard of kid games that involve a person like that and going around and whatever, but I've never heard anyone call it as a human pendulum before.
That's it. Well, to be honest with you, I only heard about it maybe 5 months ago, 6 months ago, or something. That was the first time I'd, heard it. Tracy saying the Scottish guy is brilliant. I don't know who the Scottish guy is. Tracy, the Scottish guy is brilliant.
I don't know.
I know she doesn't mean me.
I don't know, but Robbie was saying that he has his are encased in a tube and can't spin them, which is brilliant. That allows for less manipulation, which is true. Anytime that you can actually get any device to be so there's no chance of it being moved, bumped, or otherwise is great. We did the pendulum. Let's see. Robbie says we did the pendulum in the place you took us to, and can't remember if it was your team member or my team member that stood in the middle.
It was your team member, Robbie. It was your team member.
Seriously?
It was the lady that's.
Okay, here's my question. How does, you explained how it works, but how is it really supposed to work? Is the person that goes to that effect of, do they feel the sway because they're standing perfectly still? And a person who's standing perfectly still will naturally start to sway, just naturally. So where does the paranormal come in?
Robbie will correct me if I'm wrong here. I'm not an expert on it. We tried it once at Alway Kirk and didn't work, so we didn't bother trying it again. I think the whole concept is that the person in the middle opens herself up to whatever spirit may be around them and lets the spirit use them as a tool, basically. And so the whole idea is, if you say, well, are you a male spirit? I would say push, John forward for yes, or push them back for no. And if the person goes forward, it's a yes. If that makes sense.
I don't know how validated that will be.
I don't know, Dotsy. I'm not an expert on it. I know Robbie does it quite a bit. I'll tell you privately, if I say on here, no one will want to do it. Right. That's fair enough. He's going to tell me in private, and I'll pass on to you, Jennifer.
Sounds great. You have a person in the chat that said, I've only got 2 people viewing the messages you're putting up, and I'm not getting how many viewers you got. I have no idea how many viewers are actually currently on. I know that YouTube will show a certain amount of viewers, and Facebook is going to show a certain amount of viewers. However, when everything's said and done, and it gets put up there permanently, most of them actually, you do get to see all the Facebook ones, and then in YouTube, you get to see all the YouTube ones. Is there a way to put this together? There's got to be a way to put them together.
I don't think so. I mean, I can see one to my screen, we get 7 watching on 8 watching on YouTube.
Right.
But when we come off, I always check Facebook, and as usually it gives you how many people watching on Facebook. A couple of times I've come off and we've had maybe 160, 200 people watched on.
Right, and then there'll be a lot of people that aren't catching it right now are going to catch it later, and then the numbers are going to go up.
Well, that's it. I mean, one of the lies, Kathy's saying 6. One of the lies we done with Patty, we had 1,600 views on it over, I think it was a month or something. It climbed to about 1,600. So the numbers, the numbers do go up. I know, and this is another thing about fakes. I know a lot of people fake stuff to get views and, subs and followers and, all the rest of it.
I know something about YouTube that YouTube's trying to make sure it doesn't happen anymore to their videos. YouTube, when you go on and view a thing and you like it, if you go on 24 hours later, you can watch it again, and it will show as a new view, even if it's your IP address.
All right.
So as I said, YouTube's trying to put a squash to that, so that every view is from an IP address versus. But now, whenever you go on, right, currently, if you go on, it shows the view. So if you want it, so there are people out there that'll go onto their YouTube channels and they'll purposely watch something all the way through, watch it again, and increase the numbers to show that they've had a lot of views.
I've heard of that being done. They'll just put it on and leave it,
well, yeah. I mean, we do not do that, but I know people who do.
But we won't name them on here, won't we? Not.
No, we're not going to name them on here. No.
But a lot of people are views driven, subs, followers, and I'll be honest, I'll put my hands up. Everybody likes to see their numbers going up. We like to see our numbers get up. I've seen them many alive. If your
numbers go up naturally and not manipulated, and unfortunately, there are a lot of paranormal. We call them the pop-up teams. They pop up from left and right like daisies through the snow, and all of a sudden they have all these views. I'm like, wait, you've just been investigating for the past week. How on earth you have 600 views already?
Or they'll, one I like to see the numbers going up because it lets us know that we're doing stuff that people are liking, people are enjoying.
Mountain has a good thing. She says we get a lot of bots on our channel. That's true. A lot of communities, online communities, other social media, YouTube is definitely, you get people that will have a search engine, or they'll have a computer already set up that automatically sends things to the channel. And they have they call it automated answers, which you try to respond to them, but of course they're not going to respond back because it's not a person; it's an actual program.
One thing that gets me, I've always found it comical, is you'll get a channel and they've maybe, a YouTube channel, and they've maybe got 3,000 subs, for example, and they've only got 27 views.
Right.
So where's your other 2,000?
You have to wonder. That's another part of the whole that makes the fakes from the real. Because I'm not saying that all of the high numbers are fake. It's just a good portion of high numbers have been faked, unfortunately.
Well, I know you can buy subs. I know a couple of channels that have bought subs, but then it shows up because their sub count doesn't tally up with the views that they're getting. I know one particular channel that's got about 7,000 subs, and they get maybe 15 to 20 views on their videos. So where's the other 6,000?
I would love to know where all those are. It's other communities I'm part of. There's a witch community I'm part of, and it's every now and then we get all these bots that come in, and they're claiming something, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, goodbye. And I wish we could do. I wish there was ways that YouTube or even Facebook can handle bots better, but unfortunately, unless we have an IT person constantly in there getting rid of them, the bots are here to stay.
They ain't going nowhere fast. A question for you: what's your take on language responsive from spirits that are not in a native language and not appropriate for their time? That's a good question.
Take a language responsive spirits. Well, Laura, that one has been debated a lot by researchers about native languages versus non-language. There's a theory. Don't blast me for not remembering, because I don't remember who came up with this idea, that in the spirit realm, it's that maybe they know that they've learned all languages, that they can speak their language, plus they are able to, I don't know, produce your language. It's not an exact science, obviously, but
it's a good question. I mean, that first capture Caldwell, we thought it sounded Latin.
Right, and I mean, there's going to be now here. Okay, here's where the debate comes mostly from. You have your residual, which will be in Latin, Chinese, or whatever language that you have. It's residual. An intelligent haunting can be both. It can be in the language that they knew, or you might get it in English. But then you have to wonder, how the hell did they learn English?
I've wondered that myself many a time. And then a couple of people have asked me, if you go to a different country, say, example, you go to France and you've got, an echophonicon, is it going to come through in French or come through in English?
I think so.
I don't know.
What if now here's what a lot of paranormal shows and a lot of other things, a lot of other communities do not talk about how they communicate with each other. So if they communicate with each other, and obviously if the paranormal world is that together and they can contact and talk with each other, then maybe after death, it doesn't matter what you speak. I mean, who knows? Maybe whatever you speak is going to come through. Say they're still speaking Chinese. It's like they're translating it. It automatically gets translated into English. I have no idea. I would love to know.
I'd love to. It's a question I can't answer, because you got a French ghost, so they're going to speak French, they're going to speak English.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Maybe they have their own Tower of Babel.
I know you'll get people who will say, "Oh, it's because of this and it's because they do that," but to me, if you know the answer to something, just tell me, I don't know.
I just go by what I've been heard, what I've been told, and my personal opinion is they already know. They've been around long enough, and if they've been dead for 200 or 300 years, they've probably picked up the language.
Possibly. So that was a good question, Laura. Thank you. Can't say I went to Fotheringay Castle, and once I started speaking in French, they were happy to come forward and then communicated in English. However, I have seen a video where EVP was captured in French.
Agreed. There are many captures that will come through as an intelligent response in that foreign language. That does happen, but every now and then you might get that same spirit, ghost, or whoever, or whatever you wish to call it. They'll say it in French first, for example, and then later, maybe 2 days later, they said, "Okay, fine, I'll speak it in English." You got it. So personally, I think they can do anything they want. Honestly.
That at the end of the day, that's it, Doll. You hit in the net. It's up to them. You know, if they want to talk in Scots, Gaelic, French.
Well, sure, that'd be great. I mean, I had a case once where they spoke a single German word twice, same word. They said "bitte," but all the other responses were in English. Excuse me. "Bitte" is please in German. So they did it that way, but I will tell you, saying it in that language got our attention. And then later, because now we have the attention, I think it was willing to talk to us in a way that we can understand.
Well, we get one through one time, Decan, DECAN.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have a clue what language that was or what it. But obviously, we looked it up after it. But you know, that got, as you say, that you know, the bit I got your attention. That got our attention.
Exactly.
You know, Decan. What is that? Is that Gaelic? Because shortly after we got the Whispering Woman, as I call her now, which we keep getting, but we thought that sentence sounded Gaelic.
Mm-hmm.
So what was Decan? That sounded Gaelic. So was Decan Gaelic, or? But then we found out it's something to do with.
How many different variations of Gaelic are there?
I've got no idea.
I know there's Scottish Gaelic. I know there's Irish Gaelic. I know that there's Pictish Gaelic. I'm like, good grief. So what variation are we talking about?
I'm just familiar with my former Glaswegian. That's it. That's me.
Okay, that makes sense.
The can sounds
Sarah
French.
says, no, it was Latin. And Sarah, Latin has variations too. It does. Over time, certain words changed in how they pronounced Latin, and how it was supposed to be spoken had changed over the years. So just like Gaelic and any other language, Latin also has its variations.
Well, it turned out, we researched the word, and it turned out now, Sarah's obviously watching. I might have this because we've done that much. Decan was a Latin word to do with astrology, but it was also some kind of, I'm going to say it, demonic meaning to, no, we're not saying demon we got, but there was some kind of demonic meaning to Decan, but it was mostly to do with astrology. So that kind of foxed us a wee bit.
Oh, no, I get where that comes from, which easily, I mean, you have, holy crap, I mean, now you're going in a whole different ball game there. Not just astrology, but now you have demonology on top of that, because a lot of things with Solomon's sigils and stuff like that, you're going to have especially where you guys are, it's older history. Everything is older. Where I'm at is relatively young.
Mm-hmm. I use are kind of babies, but yeah. As I say, we got it. You know, we saw the demonic one, so we did look at, as there any satanic ties to the place that we're researching? Is there any, history? We didn't find anything. So we don't. That one's still a puzzle. The astrology tied to it, but we'll get there eventually. Welsh is Gaelic. I don't know. I would say I
I
would say
have
on
no idea about Welsh,
Welsh is Gaelic.
but there. I have found some old manuscripts from Ireland that had like 3 different versions of Gaelic. Yeah, so I don't know.
I don't know. I know I speak fluent Glaswegian. That's where my knowledge ends.
I
You know,
speak American, I speak bad American, I speak a little bit of Spanish, and I can speak Pig Latin, and I know a little bit of Latin.
I can speak some Polish, but I'm not going to say it because it's all rude words. So I used to work with people. So I'm not going to say it in case anybody knows what I'm talking about. But I can. I know Dzień dobry's, good morning, what have you, hello. But the other words I'm not going to bother saying because we don't want a strike. But I say they can work. But, I think a lot of people fake stuff to get views as well, don't you?
They do.
So, well, if we can produce something, we're going to get people are going to start talking, and all these people are going to want to see it and start watching it.
My favorite thing to debunk when someone gives me a clip, I ask them, how often did you mention a sound that you heard or everyone heard audibly, but now you're claiming it to be paranormal? That's why I always tell people to make sure you mark your noises that you hear. So when you're listening to your audio, you can hear yourself going, it's this, therefore it's already debunked, and you're not having to rethink about it.
You see, we heard quite a few noises outside of the app. The other team may have heard breathing noises, which I never heard.
True. And when that happens, if I'm hearing it from a different room or whatever, I'm one of those people that will get up off their duff and go find out. I have no problem going to the next room and going, okay, where did that noise come from?
The breathing noise was right beside them.
Well, that's different. But if the breathing noise can, if nobody else is breathing heavy, but what I mean is if people are whispering and talking in the room while you're doing an EVP session and they're not owning up to it, later when you play back that recording, it's going to sound like it's going to sound low, and it's going to have that low frequency, and then it's very hard to discern whether or not that was a person or if that was actually something paranormal.
Aye, that happened. Just for a bit honest coming up, that happened to us. We'd done a daytime investigation. Sarah Law and I were there. It was actually Sarah and Law that done the investigation. I was just kind of wandering about. But I listened, and they got quite a bit of activity and responses. I listened, and I heard this whispering on the earphones and headphones. Earphones, what age am I? Headphones. And I listened to it. I thought, that's no through the app. It turned out it was Laura whispering to Sarah. Two of them were sitting next to each other, and I was Sarah said, that's Laura's voice. And once she said that and I listened back to it, I thought, that's Laura.
Well, there's a couple of things that you guys have sent and I've listened to, and I've actually questioned. I said, because I'm like, okay, I'm not there, obviously. I'm all these thousands of miles away. I will ask questions. I'm like, okay, I heard this. Did somebody say this? Did somebody say that? And I will actually ask that. And usually it helps jog the memory of the investigators. Because sometimes we do forget to tag. It does happen. But when you have a person like me who goes, hey, did someone say this? It jogs that memory.
I mean, it's amazing how, as you say, you're an audio person rather than a video person. And I'm starting to get that way as well, believe it or not, because, I've listened to loads of stuff, and that's when every time I listen to it, I keep hearing something else.
And I think I do the video, but when I watch the video, then I'll rewatch it again and not watch the video. I'll just listen.
And
then I'll watch it again for a third time to see if my ears are playing tricks on me.
I think you've got to, because see, I listened to her original record, the first ever record, I don't know, 20, 30 times maybe, and I kept, what was that? But when you're watching it and listening to it, you don't concentrate as much.
Correct. That's true, and that's another thing that they show you on these shows, and other pop-up teams think, oh, just because I see it or I'm not hearing it, therefore it's not happening. But if we dull one of our senses, we tend to pick up on others.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
So that's what I'm going to keep doing. I'm going to keep doing the audio, but I think we'll wrap it up there just now, Doll. That's all right with you?
It's all right with me. Oh, it's getting cloudy outside.
It's dark outside here because I think we're going out. I think we're going a walkabout. We're child free tonight.
Oh, that sounds like fun, damn it.
10:35 tonight, so I think we're going to jump in the car and go walk
Tell me
about.
what you find. Send anything my way. You know that.
I will be. If we see anything, hear anything, pick anything up. So
Right.
we'll call
Especially if you hear something, just let me know.
Aye, there we go. We're going to call her.
Yeah. In the way you're going hunting, don't forget to take your spear.
Yeah, we don't use him in Scotland. We don't use him. But this is for tonight, folks. Thanks very much for coming in. We're back on. We're back out investigating tomorrow night and Friday, and then Friday and then Saturday we are off to Nottingham to film our good friends from GSI. We're really looking forward to that. Cheers, Robbie, buddy. We're filming our Halloween special, which is going to be on Amazon Prime on the 30th and the 31st October. So we're looking forward to that. But we're back live on Monday with Mark Edgerton. We're doing an exclusive Hingenbrook live. Hingenbrook House is down in Huntingdonshire, and it was built by Oliver Cromwell's grandfather. Oliver Cromwell grew up there. Quite a few British monarchs have stayed there over the years, the Queen, King Charles, etc. So Mark's coming in. Mark works at Cromwell, and he'll be in on Monday night with me, and we're going to be having a chit-chat about Hingenbrook House and the Nuns Bridge that sits behind it, which is very interesting. So if you're free, Jennifer, Monday night, you're welcome to come on by. Because
we'll see how free I am on Monday. I don't know, but we'll see.
It promises to be good, but that's it.
Well, I have a lot of research I have to do in my area. Now I have new history to find.
Well, that's it. In a new town, new city, whatever you call over there. New state.
Yeah, new everything. It's great.
A new county, a state. Oregon's a state, isn't it? Is it a state? Well, you're in a part of America. That's how I'll just say you're in a different part of America. Easier for us.
No, Oregon is a state.
I don't know what we have.
I promise you, Scott, that there are cities here that you can even pronounce.
There's cities in Britain that I can't even pronounce. There's places in Scotland I can't pronounce. And I'm born and bred in Scotland, and I can't see half the names. Further up north, go way up. We're talking miles away.
No. I'm hoping to have at least another little teaser segment soon. I'm hoping. I just need to get my butt out there and get it done.
Get out there in the rain and stuff. So that's it for today. Thanks very much to Jennifer for American team. We will be seeing her again, and have a good rest of the week, everybody, and a good weekend. And we'll see you. We might be going. We're going to do a couple of lives on Saturday, actually, on our way down to Nottingham. So. Just a couple of 5-10 minute lives on our way down. We're not telling to tell you where we're going. I like echo fake. I can say that word. Laura. It took me years to learn how to say that. Try and say that word that time.
I don't want to.
Make it down into 2 words.
I am going to butcher that word if I try.
Oh, butcher it. Go on. Come on, guys.
Eslafashan? It depends. I don't know if the CH is supposed to be a shush or it's supposed to be a con or the C is supposed to be a sis or. See, I can't do it because I'm thinking I'm breaking the word down too much.
You're overthinking it.
Huh?
You're overthinking it.
I'm overthinking a word with two C's and an F and a CH that has different pronunciations depending on what part of the world you're in.
Well, I put you out your misery.
Better, because I have no idea.
Echo fecking.
Would not have thought it's how it's supposed to be.
But it took me years to pronounce that, Laura. There's one.
This is probably payback for what I did to you.
Pronounce that one.
Wow. This is going to be butchered really bad. I do apologize in advance. I don't even know what the hell I'm saying.
Bless you. Octomurty. She's through. Octomurty. I have trouble saying it. Sarah thinks that was French. I think Jennifer's froze, folks. So with that, we'll leave yous to it. We've got frozen Jennifer. It's not too bad. She lasted an hour and 40 minutes before she froze up on us. But at least she's froze with a happy face. A forever smile. So enjoy the rest of your week, folks, and we'll see you. You froze for about a minute there. You left me alone.
No, it's good payback because I don't know these words and I don't know how they're supposed to be pronounced. I'm thinking. Now I almost put German with the last one.
German? That's a Scottish. That's a place in Scotland.
I did that, but if you have the AUCH in German is ach, so.
You're kidding me on, lassie. Thank you.
No, I know that's good payback. I don't know Scottish. Sorry.
Ach, you're kidding me on. Right, anyway, we're out here, folks. So to say, take care. We're back live on here on Monday with Mark. And many thanks to Jennifer and to everybody in chat for your comments and your questions. And we hope you enjoyed our wee live on. Did we actually
before we go, what was that word I was trying to say? What is that word?
This one.
Yeah, what is that?
Auchtermurty.
No, but what is it?
It's a place in Scotland. It's a village in Scotland.
Thank you. I had no idea.
Well, it's a village or a town. It depends. The class some villages is town, even though they're tiny.
All right.
And the class is a town.
I'm sorry. We lingered on long enough.
It's a location in Scotland. How's that? Is that better for you?
Oh, so you're making me say a name in Scotland? Sure.
A name? Was that a name in Scotland? What was that? I'll get you speaking Scottish yet. I think it's a town.
The more I hang around with you guys, the more I end up. Remember, I told you I'm a chameleon. I start taking in stuff.
Don't worry, we'll have a Tory on your bonnet soon. You don't have a clue what that means, do you?
I know what a bonnet is.
A Tory on his bonnet.
I don't know what the other is, but I know what a bonnet is.
It's nothing vulgar. There's a decade.
I don't care at this point. Anyway, we better conclude before we don't have anything to conclude.
We'll wind it up. Those are live on Fakes. I know we kind of drifted off topic quite a wee bit, but hey ho, that's life, isn't it?
Fun.
Exactly. That's another plan tonight, or had anything written out. We just go with the flow and see where we end up. Maybe Aberdeen, Carlisle, Oregon. Who knows? That's the fun. All right, so we've got a night there, folks. Obviously, I'll keep a hold of you, Jennifer, for a wee minute or two. And talk to you all very soon. So take care and thanks for coming in. Bye.
Bye.